Hello, my Saga squad. Well, my mother's passed away, and I'm up here taking care of the necessaries. I'm nowhere near my computer and making this off an underpowered laptop. The quality might be crap for the next few eps, but I need something to keep my mind off of it. So, on with the show. All right, my panel pundits, get ready to deep dive into a look back at the wild comic releases of January 2004. We're tackling everything from the cosmic craziness of Captain Marvel and the Fantastic Four, to the messy family drama of the Runaways and Emma Frost, to a grim, gritty deep dive of Wolverine and Mystique. It's time to break down all the madness from this truly jam packed period in comic history. So come on along, and let's go for a ride. Captain Marvel, Volume 5, Issue 16. Whoa! Talk about a cosmic soap opera. It sounds like Genevieve having a rough day, and everyone else is just trying to keep up. So let's break this down because this plot is thicker than Galactus's breakfast smoothie. So we kick off with Elysius, calm as a cucumber, telling Genesis it's time to pack up his emotional baggage and head home. Our boy Genis, who clearly has got a few screws loose, thanks to cosmic awareness, is totally flabbergasted. But he snaps out of it quick sharp and realizes this isn't his mommy, and lets loose with a schwazak blast. You'd think that'd put a dent in someone, right? Nah, not Elysius. She brushes it off like it's a mosquito bite, probably muttering about Titan science and their fancy anti-schwazak beam tech. Janice being Janice doesn't care, and as far as he's concerned, they're all pushing up daisies, especially Elysius. So he huffs off, leaving Elysius to dryly remark, well, that went well, which honestly is the understatement of the cosmic year. Next up, we find Janice having a heart to heart with his dad's gravestone, basically blaming Marvel for every bad hair day he's ever had. And just when you think it can't get any weirder, Epiphany shows up. And for those who weren't glued to their comics during the Marvel Microverse escapades, Epiphany is one of Eternity's kids. She waltzes in and casually drops the bombshell that maybe her brother is behind Genesis' latest meltdown. Because he's the one who previously drove Genesis bonkers to try to end the universe. Meanwhile, the Peanut Gallery, aka the alien races, are all kind of side-eyeing Epiphany, and Lalandra tells Elysius to get her act together and clean up her own backyard. Oh, then there's Rick Jones. Post-coital, because comics. Captain Marvel suddenly remembers his buddy Rick and poof, brings him back to life, right in the middle of his own cremation. I mean, wow. Truly awkward. Rick, understandably miffed, decides that he's had enough of Genesis shenanigans and tries to sci-fry him. Marvel steps in just in time, stopping Rick from turning Genesis' brain into soup by reminding him that Marlo Chandler and Earth are on the line. And just when you think you've got a handle on things, the Titans, bless their hearts, finally track Genesis down to Marvel's grave. Plot twist! It was all a big cosmic misdirection. Our boy Genesis isn't there. He's actually making a beeline for Titan itself. Literally a total oops moment for the Titans. The issue wraps up with Elysius making a frantic call, and we see that they've handed the mantle of Captain Marvel over to Genesis' sister. Her mission? To bring him around. Which, given his current mental state, sounds like a job for a cosmic shrink and a whole lot of duct tape. Ooh, that's a lot to unpack. What do you think Genesis' sister will do to bring him around? Maybe a stern talking to or a cosmic wedgie? Runaways, Volume 1, Issue 8. So the stage is set. Alex Wilder, ever the leader, is giving the warm welcome to Topher, the new guy who just popped up on their radar. But hold on, Chase Stein isn't buying it. He's got those suspicious vibes about the newcomer. And just as they're getting acquainted, the telltale wail of the police sirens sliced through the air, forcing them to ditch the convenience store in a quick hurry. Quick thinking from Nico Minoru, she whips out the staff of one and blasts a thick smoke spell to throw off the cops, giving our runaways just enough breathing room to zip away. And as they make their escape, they're spilling the whole saga about how their team came to be, giving Topher the lowdown on their bizarre origins. And while our heroes are making their getaway, back at the villainous lair, Jeffrey Wilder, Alex's dad, remember, is dropping some unsettling news on his wife. It turns out that one of the Pride's sneaky operatives has dug up surveillance footage, and what's on it? None other than their own kids duking out with some thieves at a convenience store. Yikes. Meanwhile, the runaways hightail it to their secret hideout in Bronson Canyon. The cool spot. But things get a little wild when Old Lace, the awesome dinosaur, immediately decides Topher looks like a snack and attacks. Luckily, Molly Hayes steps in with her super strength and separates the two. So, Topher finally gets to meet Molly and Arsenic. And Nico, being the welcoming sort she is, offers to give him a tour of their digs, the hostel. And as they head off, Carolina pulls her teammates aside. She's stressing about telling Topher her biggest secret. She's actually an alien, and she's hoping to spin it as a mutant power to avoid totally freaking him out. Nico takes Topher on a tour, leading him to the room where she spills the beans about how her powerful staff of one works. The conversation quickly turns deep as they both open up about the sheer evil of their parents. It's a really bonding moment. Topher, clearly feeling the connection, starts to lean in for a kiss. But Nico, thinking of her current flame, gently pushes back, reminding him she's already with Alex. Topher, however, isn't deterred. He pushes the boundary, urging her not to be afraid, and plants a kiss on her. And guess what? Nico actually kisses him back. Talk about a shocking twist. But the biggest shocker, Alex is watching the entire steamy scene unfold, his jaw practically on the floor, thanks to the removable eyes of a creepy portrait. Oh man, this is gonna get messy. Thor, Volume 2, Issue 71. As the celebration for Thialfi winds down, Kaya makes a sudden appearance and abducts him. She transports Thialfi to the Resistance hidden cave, where she reveals a shocking truth. Her mother, the Scarlet Witch, was killed by the worshippers of Thor, mirroring the fate of Thialfi's own mother. Now, Thialfi, staunchly believing that Thor's benevolent rule, claims the Thunder God has vastly improved the world. In response, Kaya teleports him away to uncover the truth for himself. Meanwhile, Magni safely escorts Jordal home, an event quickly reported to Loki by a spy. Thialfi materializes in a town consumed by non-stop partying and drug-induced stupors. And as he explores the surrounding region, he discovers signs of neglect, unfinished construction, untended fields, and hidden groups studying the Bible, yearning for a return to the pre-Asgardian times. Now, returning to the chaotic town, Thialfi helps a distraught partier locate the body of her missing son, who tragically drowned while she was intoxicated. Kaya reappears, bringing a shaken Thialfi back to the cave. Though he now concedes that Thor's world isn't perfect, Thialfi remains steadfast in his belief that Thor is beyond reproach. It's then that Kaya delivers the ultimate blow, showing him Mjolnir and revealing that Thor is no longer worthy to lift the mighty hammer. Daredevil, Volume 2, Issue 54. Okay, so picture this. Maya is absolutely frozen, staring down a dude shaped like a Wolverine in a stormy pitch black night. A light flash gives her a split-second glimpse, and whatever it is, isn't comforting. Thunder rolls, vibrating through her, and the rain is just pounding on her head like a jazz rhythm. She digs deep, summons all of her strength, and stands up to face the shadowy figure. When she's finally upright, she realizes the guy is shorter than her, and all she can really see is his breath. Then another lightning strike, and boom, it's Wolverine. He immediately makes her think of two dogs fighting, and then everything goes dark again. The thunder hits her like a drum solo, and pure instinct kicks in. She's not hearing the thunder anymore, she's feeling the impacts. And at first, Maya thinks Logan is just straight up hitting her. She fights back hard, throwing kicks and punches, but the dude's blocking everything she throws. She feels like she's a runaway train with no brakes, blindfolded, remembering asking what darkness sounds like. And as their brutal dance continues, lightning flashes, freezing them in furious snapshots, a strobe light after every stop motion. The drumbeat of the thunder keeps pounding in the darkness. Wolverine isn't stopping, though, and Maya sees him as a wild Picasso bull going in all directions at once, and she's the bullfighter. She throws down every move she's ever absorbed from Daredevil and Bullseye, aiming for nerve centers to shut him down. But that just lights up Logan, and Maya sees him roar, even if she can't hear it. The rest of the fight is a blur, like a dream filled with memories of those two fighting dogs and a Vision Quest legends of animals morphing into human form. The thunder keeps punching her brain, and she can't even tell Wolverine's doing until he lands a hit. And that just makes her furious. From those lightning fast frames, she picked up enough of Wolverine's move to be dangerous to them both. Now, suddenly, Wolverine stops, flashing a sarcastic grin before snicking out his claws. Maya's mind reels, convinced she's hallucinating from days without food or water. Logan eventually snicks his claws back in and then asks her to follow. Moments later, Logan offers her a beer, but Maya explains she's on day 4 of a vision quest fasting. Logan recognizes this and revealing he's come to this wild place to confront his own inner beasts, trying hard to be a man to control that primal angry part. This reminds Maya of Jacob wrestling an angel, a blessing found in struggle. Logan hints that the chief sent Maya, admitting that Chief once guided him on a vision quest, teaching him fear was internal. Maya shares visions, including, importantly, two dogs fighting. Logan gets serious, admitting the chief told him that the two-dog fighting story, which helped him become more man and less beast. Maya's intrigued and wants the whole story. Wolverine, Volume 3, Issue 8. What's up, my narrative navigators, and welcome back to another exciting issue where we're diving deep into the grim underworld of El Paso. Special Agent Aginaga is grilling a dude named Lake about 19 dead bodies found in a trailer. Lake, naturally, is trying to play dumb, claiming he was just riding shotgun for a guy named Merrick. But then Aginaga lays out the brutal details: 11 men, 5 women, 3 kids, the youngest being just 6 years old. Lake knows he's toast and finally spills the name Ritter, the guy who put the whole thing together and has contacts across the border. Meanwhile, watching through a one-way mirror, the stern-faced Cassie Lathrop takes it all in. Wolverine himself is on a rampage, tearing through El Paso looking for Ritter. Logan bursts into Ritter's office, cuts through the chase, and starts giving the dude a real workover, smashing him around like a rag doll. Just as Logan extends his claws, demanding answers about Lake and Merrick, blam! Ritter gets shot, and then Logan takes one in the face himself. The mechanic Menendez sets the whole place on fire, hoping to incinerate Logan, but our boy Wolverine ain't going out like that. He leaps out of the flames and confronts Menendez, who quickly reveals he's working for a guy named Rojas across the border. Back at Cerveza Fria, Logan learns from Nestor that Rojas is knee-deep in human trafficking, exploiting desperate immigrants by forcing them to swallow drug balloons in exchange for passage. This guy's a full-blown drug lord. He's making people worth less than drugs. Under a clear moonlit night, Wolverine sprints towards the river, scales a fence, and slips into the water, ready to go for a swim across the Rio Grande. Avengers, Volume 3, Issue 74. The scene opens with pure mayhem. She-Hulk, powered by the cosmic nastiness and totally out of control, is rampaging through the city, tearing up everything in her path. The rest of the Avengers are scrambling, barely holding it together against her raw strength. But then a flash of purple and a whistling arrow. It's Hawkeye, the avenging archer, stepping up to the plate, and get this, he's taking on the Jade Giantess single-handedly. Now, he's not trying to beat her into submission, he's pulling a classic Hawkeye maneuver. He's laying down just enough arrows, trick arrows at that, and probably some of those sonic or explosive tips to get her attention, to irritate her, and most importantly, to lead her away from the populated areas. He's buying the rest of the team precious moments to regroup, strategize, and figure out exactly how they're going to take care of their out-of-control friend without turning the city into rubble. It's a bold, risky plan, but that's just how Clint Barton rolls. Hawkeye's daring gambit pays off. He successfully lures the enraged She-Hulk out of the metropolitan chaos and into a desolate, rocky area. And just as he thinks he's got her contained, or at least distracted, who do they run into? None other than Bruce Banner himself, looking all frazzled and, well, Bruce Banner-ish. Well, Bruce, with his quiet understanding of the Hulk family's volatile nature, immediately tries to calm Jen down, desperately appealing to the scientist buried beneath the rage. He's trying to reach his cousin to pull her back from the brink of total destruction. And for a moment, there's a flicker of hope, a pause in the storm, and Bruce's gentle voice cuts through the cosmic influence. But this is a comic book, so you know peace can't last. And just as Bruce is making headway, the ground starts shaking, and not from the She-Hulk's fury, but from the approaching rumbling of the military vehicles. The U.S. Army has shown up, bristling with tanks and firepower, ready to take down the green Goliath by force. This throws a wrench into everything, and Hawkeye sees the writing on the wall. An enraged She Hulk versus an armed soldiers? That's a recipe for a bloody disaster, and not even her healing factor could make up for the civilian casualties from her collateral damage. Thinking fast with grim determination, Hawkeye makes a brutal yet calculated decision. To prevent She Hulk from literally slaughtering an entire army, and probably himself in the process, he does the unthinkable. He intentionally triggers Bruce Banner's transformation into the Hulk. It's a shocking moment, a desperate measure to fight fire with bigger fire, ensuring that a truly uncontrollable force is unleashed to counter another, hopefully saving lives in the process. What a move, Hawkeye. Now we've got two Hulks to deal with. What were you thinking? Emma Frost, Volume 1, Issue 5. The saga kicks off with a family disaster so profound that Christian Frost is practically exiled. We find the whole Frost clan at the airport waving goodbye as Christian leaves town, disowned by his father due to his lifestyle choices. Talk about a brutal send off. And later that night, Emma finds her mother sitting alone and it hits her. Mom's not going to do squat about Emma's father fondling another woman. Emma, furious, grabs her mother's shoulder, and boom, telepathic feedback sends them both reeling, forcing her mother to witness her husband's infidelity through Emma's eyes. This mental jolt is too much for Mom, sending her straight into a seizure. And just when things could not get any worse, Emma's brother calls, revealing that their father fired him. Emma, now boiling, storms into her father's office, telling him off and leaving the old man stunned. Meanwhile, her mother finally wakes up from the coma, but the storm is far from over. Emma visits her brother, trying to find some normalcy by watching a movie with him and his brother, but their peace is shattered as the SWAT team bursts in, arresting them both. It turns out that their father isn't just a philandering bigot, he ordered the police to frame Christian's boyfriend, aiming to have him deported back to Cuba. This Frost family reunion is going from bad to utterly horrific. Before Emma can even process this layer of evil, Adrian confronts her. It's not explicitly stated, but it definitely looks like Adrian has psychic powers too, adding another unsettling layer to the Frost family dysfunction. The chapter culminates in a nightmare scenario that bleeds into reality. Emma wakes up from her terrifying dream and instinctively rushes into Christian's room. What she finds is truly horrifying and heartbreaking. Christian is hanging, dead. His father's cruelty and the weight of his family's judgment has pushed him to the ultimate tragic end. This is a gut punch of an installment. With Christian dead, how will Emma deal with her father's monstrous actions, and what role will Adrian's burgeoning powers play in the ensuing fallout? Fantastic Four, Volume 1, Issue 507. So, the United Nations is rolling in to shut down Mr. Fantastic's occupation of Latveria. The rest of the Fantastic Four, Sue, Ben, and Johnny, are freaking out, convinced Reed has officially gone off the rails, and they're begging Nick Fury to hold off the invasion. But no dice. Fury's got the UN breathing down his neck and tells them to surrender. The FF refuse and head right back into the country. But surprisingly, Fury orders his soldiers to hold their fire. Meanwhile, back at Doctor Doom's lab, Reed is in full mad scientist mode, prepping his final plan. He's flashing back to fond memories of his family as he sets the lab to self-destruct, activates a device, and poof, he's gone. But before the whole place blows, Sue swoops in, containing the self-destruct in an invisible force field. And at that exact moment, down in hell, Doom is getting relentlessly tortured by demons when he's suddenly yanked away. He materializes in a room surrounded by projections of his many, many defeats at the hands of the Fantastic Four. And who's there to greet him? Mr. Fantastic himself. Reed calmly informs Victor that they're both trapped in this Mobius dimension, an endless loop of Doom's biggest failures. He boasts about choosing this empty, inescapable dimension as the ultimate prison for his oldest foe, chastising Doom for all of his wasted potential. While all this is going down, back on Earth, Nick Fury decides the FF has had enough time and leads the army full steam into Latveria, and they find zero opposition. So Fury orders the troops to storm Doom's castle. Now, back in the Mobius dimension, Reed and Victor are locked in an ultimate battle of wits. Doom tries his classic ovoid mind swapping trick on Reed, But Reed just laughs, explaining it's useless. They're both stuck here. Reed smugly reiterates there's no way out when boom, a portal rips open and the rest of the Fantastic Four pop in, totally screwing up Reed's perfect plan. Reed absolutely rips into them for interfering, screaming that Doctor Doom can escape now. Meanwhile, on Earth, Fury's armies are still pushing forward when they're confronted by a young woman calling them hypocrites for invading Latveria. And suddenly the people of Latveria pour out of their homes, telling the troops to bounce. But Fury smirks, revealing that they are just a distraction, as another team storms Doom's castle. Moments later, those soldiers bust into Doom's lab, finding the Fantastic Four passed out cold in front of a transporter. And when the team finally revives, they start panicking that Doom is back on Earth. It gets worse. Much worse. Sue suddenly lashes out with her powers, slaying soldiers. And it turns out that Doctor Doom managed to use the swap bodies with Sue Storm. Total nightmare. Well, lore keepers, we're hitting the home stretch on this batch of comic books, and the sheer audacity of these endings is going to keep us up all night. Reed Richards has been outsmarted by his own family, giving a possessed Sue Storm, who's actually Doctor Doom, a clear path to wreak havoc. Hawkeye just unleashed the Hulk to fight his cousin, creating a two Hulk problem that is going to take a miracle to solve. And down in El Paso, Wolverine just crossed the Rio Grande to hunt down a human trafficker. A dark tale that puts him at his most raw and brutal. You can bet your bottom dollar that we're breaking down all that fallout in the next episode. But before you bounce, make sure you already executed a powerful strike on that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into this cosmic multiverse, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the final chapter. Next time, fellow fanatics, we're wrapping this whole thing up with a bang. Mystique is left fighting for her life against a biological nightmare, while in the X-Men's world, Magneto's timeline for the terrifying Endgame is revealed. He's planning on flipping the Earth's magnetic poles and wipe out all life on Earth tomorrow. Meanwhile, Daredevil, Spider-Man, and the Wolverine are cornered by the Punisher and his surprise ally, the Incredible Hulk. And out in space, the Silver Surfer gives a character a cosmic power-up that accelerates their evolution. It's the final act for these 2004 stories, and you know we're bringing the heat, so don't touch that dial. And here's a list of all the comics that will be covered in the next issue.